Welcome. We're at another special edition of Project Next today. I'm Sarah Blessing. I'm with Pastor Chris Lantz, and we are talking about ICE detention centers in Indiana. We hear about what's going on in Minneapolis. I just did a show about it. If you want to see, we talked to Pastor Kent, who is there in Minneapolis right now, and he shares with us what is going on over these last few days. But what is happening here in Indiana? There are at least four. There are four ICE detention centers that we are aware of throughout the state of Indiana, and they are detaining human beings without a trial, without due process. And sometimes they get shipped to other states and we have no idea where they are. They're not getting a lawyer. And this is inhumane, horrible, terrible. And Pastor Chris Lantz and others are leading prayer vigils, and they lead them outside of the detention centers. There is one today, but it is turned to virtual because there's a snowstorm and it is extremely cold. So we're going to talk about that. And Chris is just going to explain to us why he does this, what we can do in Indiana when we can't all just go to Minneapolis and help, and why we need to all join in this fight. Pastor Chris, thank you so much for joining us. How are you today?
Fine, thanks.
And can you tell us a little bit about what pastor you are of and where you live?
I am the pastor at Evangelical United Methodist Church in Huntington, Indiana, which is about a half hour south and west of Fort Wayne.
You're pretty far up north in Indiana?
Yeah, we're probably again, we're a little south and west of Fort Wayne, but we're up in solidly in the northeast Indiana.
Nice. I'm in the bottom of Indiana, close to Louisville. I'm about 30 minutes north of Louisville, Kentucky.
Yeah, we're about an hour north or hour south of the Michigan state line, I'd say.
Oh, okay, nice. So how long have you been a pastor?
This is my 10th year of ordained ministry. I've been serving in churches probably for 15 years or so.
Oh, wow. Well, thank you for doing that. I grew up Methodist.
All right.
Know a lot of great Methodist pastors. My husband and I had really good marriage counseling. My pastor Dave at my parents' Methodist church, and it really helped us. And so I just appreciate that. So that's nice. Methodist is a religion I am very familiar with. So
There you go.
yeah. So, okay. So there are detention centers in Indiana, ICE detention centers. Indiana, we're a supermajority Republican state, very red. We don't, even though 40 to 47% of us vote Democrat because of gerrymandering, because of voter suppression, because it's hard to vote, because Democrats feel hopeless in our state, we have low Democrat voter turnout. And that has led to supermajority of people that really don't listen to the majority of Hoosiers, and they pretty much just do the bully things, the bad things, taking money, corporate greed. We got all of it here in the state. And Mike Braun, our governor, up until recently, has been pretty much do whatever Donald Trump says. So whenever they've requested help with ICE, he has granted it. So this is very different from blue states and blue cities where they're saying no, they don't want it. He's like, yep, our police will help. Let us help you. Can you elaborate what you're seeing? And you know more about this than I do, I think.
Yeah, that's essentially what's happening on a political front here in Indiana. I mean, we have 4 ICE detention centers, as you said, and then there are others. I know Marion County in Indianapolis houses more in a transitional way. They don't necessarily do long-term holds for ICE, but they do hold ICE detainees, and it's not a small number. I think a couple months ago, I heard they'd had as many as about 800 pass through there since all of this started. But it's different than, say, in Minnesota or even Illinois and Chicago, particularly, where those state governments are not aligned with the current administration. This state government is, and especially our Attorney General has made sure and has sort of forced the issue, sort of forcing counties and counties and municipalities to help with ICE enforcement. So it's different. I don't think you're not going to see the rioting or the mass protests, but there are
we definitely have protests down here. We have, so in Clark County, there's an ICE detention center at the jail down here, and there are prayer vigils and peaceful protests down here quite a bit. So
and
it's not the same volume. It's not 50,000, but it's a few hundred.
People show up. They are smaller, but you don't want to discount small, consistent witnesses and protests. Like you said, I mean, our prayer vigils that we've been holding out at the Miami Correctional Facility have been, we do them once a month, usually the last Monday of the month. But we've been having 100 to 200 people show up on Monday afternoon, of all things.
So I just morally, why are you doing this? Because I call all pastors, all religious people, that believe in peace and love and humanity. All humans, we should all be standing up against this right now. What led you to do this? And you did this months and months ago, when it wasn't as popular, I guess I would say. It wasn't such
just getting started.
Right.
There were starting to have conversations. ICE was really starting to ramp up its enforcement operations, and there were starting to be rumblings about, first it was Camp Atterbury down in near Columbus, Edinburgh area. And I thought to myself, boy, if I lived in Columbus, which I did for a couple of years.
Oh, it's that's one of my favorite places in Indiana. One of my favorite
places. Lived there about 10 years ago. Love that. We'd move back if we had the opportunity.
I know. I love that place. Yeah. But, it's an hour from here. Yeah.
But it's a little far for me to traipse down there 2.5, 3 hours to stand and do something down there. But then they started they announced the Speedway Slammer, which was just offensive to me they're
trying to make the name sound like fun and look, we're making people safer, and it's that's not what this is.
And it's taking something that Indiana is known for in a positive way. The Speedway, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, is such an integral part of who we are in Indiana and as Hoosiers. And so they took that to say, well, we also, that's a Speedway Slammer because we're going to slam people in jail here in the Speedway. I'm like, oh, no.
So this is where we have the Indy 500. So they're trying to connect the Indy 500, which is what Indianapolis and Indiana is one of the things we're most popular and most known for, and tie it to a ICE detention center.
Yeah. And it was such a great thing, right? I watched, that's one of the 2 races I watch, car races.
Yeah, we watch it too. Yeah, it's fun.
That's it. I don't watch car racing. I don't dislike it. I'm not a big race car person, but boy, I watch that race every year, start to finish. And it just hit me as just morally indefensible to do something like this. And to know that, so I hooked up, I called up some of my clergy friends who I that was when I decided, because Speedway Slammer, Miami Correctional Facility, is only about 45 minutes from here. It's pretty much straight down 24 to 31. And so I called up a couple of my buddies, the Reverend Matt Landry, he's pastor in United Methodist pastor in Indianapolis, and the Reverend Matt Swisher, he's a pastor in Kokomo. Matt Landry is he is our go-to. He knows how to do prayer vigils, and so he was very much my first person, and they took off from there. And the reason I'm doing the lack of compassion, sort of the brazen violation of humanity, of people's rights, of looking at immigrants as significantly less than, that we have to come up with catchy, fun, lighthearted names,
slogans, nicknames for inhumane, awful things,
and lack of due process and all that. And at the very least, I wanted people to know that this is not universally accepted here in Indiana, that this is not something that everybody goes along with, that there are people here in this state who, clergy particularly, who do not want this here, who do not want the government, both the state and the federal government, to be in partnership this way. And, we sort of threw it together for August, and, we didn't know how many people were going to show up. We thought, well, in fact, when we got there, the two very nice Department of Corrections officers who were sort of assigned to help us security and just, sort of keep an eye on things, they asked us how many people we were going to be in. And like, well, it could be just the, 8 of us that are standing right here, or it could be a lot more. And it was like 160 people showed up. And that just tipped us off to something that we hit, I don't want to say a nerve, but we touched on something really significant, and it sort of the momentum just kept going.
That's great. For those of you that don't know, because my guess is there's a large majority of the country that do not know what is happening in these detention centers. I just kind of want to break it down, and you let me know if I'm skipping or getting something incorrect, Pastor Chris. So ICE, and also sometimes it can be local police, I believe, if they see somebody that they think could be an illegal immigrant, someone that came in the country illegally, ICE can just arrest them without a reason. The reason is they look suspicious. Their looks, maybe they're playing Mexican music or Spanish speaking music. Maybe they have a Mexican flag on their car. Maybe they're eating at a Mexican restaurant. I mean, it's all sorts of things, but they're arresting them, and then they're putting them in, and it's not arresting. I guess I'm saying the word wrong, because arrest, you would have to have a reason. You'd have to have like a warrant. You'd have to have your rights read to you. None of those things are happening. They're taking them and they're putting them in detention centers, which is basically jail. And these places they're using a lot of times are jails. And then sometimes they get let out, like sometimes they get released a few hours later or a few days. Sometimes they get sent to another state's detention center and you lose them. You don't know where they are. And so what ends up happening in Indiana, and we've heard reports of this, is all of a sudden the dad doesn't come home from work. A dad that maybe was born in Mexico, but came here legally, has their papers. They were detained at, maybe he was detained at work, and that he just doesn't come home. And there's no stopping and making a phone call and getting a lawyer. There's no going through a judge. It's all happening very fast with huge numbers of people. And then you lose place. They're gone. Like they're at another state or whatever. And so now we're seeing, I don't know what your social media shows you. I bet it shows you this as mine does. Now we're seeing reports of a man will come out and say, I spent 33 days in a detention center. I did nothing wrong. I just have brown skin, and they did this to me, and I was treated inhumanely, and I saw all this horrible stuff in the detention centers. So this is what, if you haven't seen it, I encourage you to search for it so your algorithm looks it up. Is there anything I missed?
Well, I've seen a couple different things. One, this all, in many ways, the Supreme Court enabled this earlier in 2025, before they really started ramping up. When they gave the green light for ICE, for DHS to racially profile. There was a court case, I can't remember which one it was right off the top of that, but there was a court case early on that came to the Supreme Court and essentially raising the question of racial profiling for immigration matters. And the Supreme Court, the 6-3 majority gave ICE, gave ICE that authority essentially to racially profile. And that's really when this stuff all ramped up.
I was not aware of that Supreme Court case.
I'll have to go back and Justice Kavanaugh wrote for the majority, I believe. I'll have to go back and look at the details exactly, but there is a tip. There was sort of a point, and it sort of gave ICE the cover they needed to do the operations. What I have heard a lot about, and what we've heard at the vigils that we've had, have been stories of people going to their court appearances, going to their check-ins, going to their, their court ordered and court appointed check-ins with, ICE or, those whatever entities those were, and just not coming out of those meetings.
I've heard that too. So that's, yeah. So these are people that are
spot.
following the law.
Oh, yes.
They want to be U.S. citizens. They're working on being U.S. citizens. They're going through the process and the paperwork legally, and they're going to check in to say, here's my monthly or whatever, however many days check in, and they don't come home.
Right.
That's terrifying.
Right. That is what we've heard, the stories that I have heard, and stories of folks going to immigration judges and being told in no uncertain terms, like if they would bring a child or something, like they have to have their kid with them, that they were told, next time you come, do not bring the child, which is the not so subtle threat that they would be arrested next time. And so, so we've heard a lot of that. That's been the stories we have heard at these vigils.
It seems to have escalated quite a bit in these last few weeks.
Oh, yeah.
I can't believe how much has changed since the first time I met you, which wasn't that long ago.
Well, no, it was months ago, maybe.
I mean, it was less than 2 months ago, I think.
Right.
That we had a show with Pastor Rich and Pastor Barbara Barry Bailey.
Mm-hmm.
And I just cannot believe how much has changed. I've also heard that there's been changes to the kind of unchecked powers ICE and Border Patrol now have, that they're able to go into people's homes without a warrant.
Without a warrant. Yep.
Yeah.
That was an internal DHS Justice Department memo. That was not that. Essentially, they're just making stuff up, in my opinion. But that was an internal memo in the Justice Department and the DHS particularly.
Do you mean by making it up? You mean ICE people are doing it and then they're coming out and saying they're allowed to later?
No, they're just giving the justification for it. They're just reinterpreting whatever rule they want to make sure it fits their at their thing. And so, that's, here, but back here in Indiana, I mean, there's a lot of angst and anguish about what is happening here. And here, and not only, there's a significant Burmese population in Fort Wayne. One of the largest Myanmar Burmese located Burmese population is in Fort Wayne.
Wow.
And their temporary protected status was set to run out, and was set to end today. But the government, or a federal judge, put a stay on that for now. And so they're Fort Wayne could potentially be another ICE hotspot very soon.
You're saying you fear that if they lose that status, or
it's not an if they lose that status, it's a when they lose this status, in my opinion. But at least right now, the federal courts have put a stay on that. Or you could have seen ICE starting to make rounds as early as midnight tonight in Fort Wayne. Feasible. But so
I just never thought I would be so happy that I fell in love with and married a white man and had kids and were white. And we were all born in America. I never thought in my adult life that I would have those thoughts.
Right.
And I have friends. I have my friend Tiffany. Her husband is from Mexico. She has 2 children that look Hispanic. And the mental struggle that she goes through every day, worrying about her husband and her 2 children. And I would do anything for my children. I mean, I would do anything to try to protect them. And I just cannot my heart breaks for these people.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
just
and
terrifying.
here's the reality. If our immigrant brothers and sisters are not safe from the authorities, we as white people are not safe from the
Well, that's
authorities.
the different thing that's
Because,
happened since the last time we met.
right, because I mean, look at the last two high-profile murders by, Immigration and Custom Enforcement and Border Patrol. They've been white people, and solidly, like not even like they're white people, and
Not even tan white people.
right, not even like, oh man, you've been out in the sun too long type people, or you've been out in the snow and your skin's browning, but white people. And if immigrant rights are being trampled on, it is only a matter of time.
And that's what we're seeing now.
Yeah.
Our rights from last time to this time, American citizens' rights are being taken.
Right.
And it was American citizens' rights being taken before, but now it's white people's American rights. And this is where I realize what the government is doing, the national government, with lying about these violent murders and acting like they deserved it. It's not working. It's working on some. Some people are going to believe it.
It will always work on some.
It'll always work on some. You're so right. But I feel like a giant amount of the population is just now waking up to this in the last few weeks and realizing they need to be concerned. And I cannot fathom our government able to convince enough people that we cannot make a change in this next election.
Yeah.
So,
and
yeah,
the trick, what amped it up with this last guy, Mr. Peretti, I believe was his name.
Yeah, Alex.
What
Peretti,
what sort of raised the stakes here is that he was a person with a licensed concealed carry weapon on his person that he was not brandishing. He
never came out
on his person, and they murdered him for it. They murdered him because, and one of the reasons is he had a gun on his person.
And now the NRA is saying this was wrong. Right. We want an investigation.
Boy, when you've got,
we've got the NRA
on your side, isn't it? Boy, when I'm sitting here going, I don't agreeing with the NRA. Boy, I'm either questioning my life choices, or it's like, well, welcome to the party. Glad you're here.
Welcome to the resistance, NRA.
Welcome to the party. Glad you're here. Doesn't matter if you're a little late. Better late than never. Come on, let's go.
Yeah, and that's why we need to be right now. We need to be welcoming to the people just now waking up. We don't need to guilt and shame them for not being concerned a year ago, not being concerned 10 years ago, or whatever. We need to say, welcome, come on in, let us educate you. Yes, and let us lovingly help you be a part of organizing to stop this. So you've got to go in just a couple minutes because you have first off, tell us how we could watch the vigil.
The vigil is on a Zoom link this time, and I can I don't know if you have a place where I can send.
You can text it into the private chat before you leave. I'll stay on a couple minutes when you leave, so text it in the private chat, and I'll copy and paste it and put it on. So you're helping to lead a prayer vigil at 2:00. Right. And everybody can attend on the Zoom link that we'll put up in just a minute. Right. And you're having these monthly, is that correct? You're having prayer vigils?
Yeah, last Monday of every month. The next one is February 23rd, I believe it is, and it's actually going to be in the evening, and I don't have those details in front of me right now, but I can get those to you.
And then how can we find out more about you and this group? Do you all have a Facebook group? Do you have something that we can check?
We don't have a Facebook group. We're just a group of clergy people with the Indiana Conference of the United Methodist Church, and you can go to our web, or the Facebook page, or our website, inumc.org, and they have more information and more that you can keep up to date through that page is a
if you'll put that on the chat too, and I'll put it up on the banner.
I can do that.
Yeah, so I just want to thank you and every clergy member that is using their voice as a leader, as a religious leader, to call this out. I think we need more than ever. So
doing our best.
I cannot believe how much has changed from then we met last time to now. I do have hope we are getting organized. We are working together. There's a lot of trainings going on how to be nonviolent and peaceful, and how to shine a light that this is awful. But this is a scary time, and I know that a lot of people are struggling mentally. This
Yeah,
is hard.
and so be encouraged. It's going to be a long road. I know it's going to be really hard, but we will overcome, and we'll come out the other side. It'll look a lot different coming out the other side, but there is light.
Thank you, my friend. Please message me if your next one, if you're there live, if you would like to do a little live one, we can try to do that. And just thank you. And you can go, and I'll keep on. Just don't forget to put that in the private chat.
All right, thank you.
Bye.
Bye bye.
I can. All right, so just a couple things. As soon as he gets that up, I'll display that. So I did a show this morning, from prison to pastor, that I encourage all of you to go and see, on our YouTube channel or Facebook or podcast, where we interviewed Pastor. Oh my gosh, I don't know how to get my phone off to stop calling. Where we where we interviewed Pastor Kent, and he is in Minneapolis right now. He flew in on Thursday, and on Friday, a group of 100 clergy people were arrested, in protest to call against ICE, and basically airline companies and businesses supporting ICE and border control. And he had pictures and videos from that. And I thought that was really amazing. Okay, here is the info I can get. All right, so I'll put it on a banner here. And then here we go. All right. So there is, if you want information about the upcoming prayer vigils, inumc.org. It's the fourth Monday of every month. If you're in his area, you can go to it. And then the other thing is, this is a website. I don't know whether this link will work very well, because you'd have to like copy and paste it. So I don't think that one will work for the Zoom link, but I'll go ahead and put it on there. I would go to that. I would go to this website. Go to this website to get the Zoom link, because you're not going to be able to copy that long thing. And I'm going to be doing more shows this week. We will be covering what's going on, but stay safe, take care of your mental health, everybody, and please share the show. We also have a Substack. If you want to go to projectnextindiana.com and put in your email, you can get emails all the shows, or you can subscribe on our YouTube channel, and you can watch on Facebook and on Instagram. Hope you all are doing okay and have a great rest of your day. Stay warm. Love you guys.